Hello, good evening and welcome to The Probe. I am Carlos Caloni. We are live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125. We are also live on Joy 99.7 FM and Love 99.5 FM. You can also catch us live streaming across all our digital platforms, Facebook, YouTube and X at Joy News on TV and globally via myjoyonline.com. This evening, nearly 6 months into President Mahama's administration, the deadly and costly fight against Galamsey remains unresolved. Despite promises in opposition to repeal the controversial LI 2462, which allows mining in forest reserves, the narrative has shifted to mere amendment, drawing sharp criticism from environmental activists who continue to demand a total repeal. Meanwhile, the Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Development Fund, Dr. Hannah Bissue, is leaving no stone unturned as she intensifies a crackdown on illegal mining. Even in the face of threats and having gone through a hostage-taking experience by illegal miners, she's relentless in this particular fight. This past week, her efforts led to the seizure of over 10 excavators in the Atacham forest in the Adanse Asokwa district of the Ashanti region. I believe you want to know what exactly happened. This is it.
The Atacham DA Basic School has the junior high school and primary directly opposite each other with a road going through them. At the time of the visit by the Minerals Development Fund, learning activities had halted because excavators of the illegal miners were in motion just behind the school. My name is Abena Yeboah. We are very worried about the education of our wards. Elders in our village and the unit committee have complained about the distraction, but they wouldn't listen. The former MP, Katie Hammond, asked them to stop, but they wouldn't. So this illegal mining site is sited just behind the basic school, about 50 meters away from the basic school, and this is causing a lot of harm to the community and also the school. Large tracts of farmland at Atacham is heavily destroyed by the illegal mining activities. The Jimmy and Subi rivers, which flow through the community, are destroyed by the illegal mining activities. The devastation has resulted in the loss of livelihoods for the community. They are destroying our community. They keep disconnecting our electricity. The perpetrators of the crime took to their heels upon knowledge of the team's presence. One person was arrested at the site. Subsequently, some Chinese nationals were tracked to their hideout where weapons and ammunition were picked. These Chinese nationals took the team to their mining site where a cocoa farm had been destroyed for mining activities. Administrator of the Minerals Development Fund, Dr. Hannah Bissue, who led the operations, expressed disappointment at the destruction done to the school's compound.
To humanity, to president and to the country, and to my background as somebody who was in a village and was given a chance. So I don't know how many presidents are here. I don't know how many chief executive officers are here. I don't know how many members of parliament are here. Doctors, nurses, engineers, police, soldiers, what have you, journalists. Think about it. If we don't give them a chance, as I was given a chance, then we do not have any hope for Ghana. A river has been destroyed. The forest is being destroyed all around the school. So the fear, we want to just think, the fear that these children will be passing through, the fear that the teachers will be passing through, the noise and all that, how would they concentrate? And how do you expect such a child to grow up to the highest potential that God has actually embedded in his being?
Meanwhile, there is uneasiness among illegal miners within the area. Dr. Hannah Bissue again.
What you see out there, you see what we hear, and to the viewers, what you hear, or probably what you see, is nothing Nothing at all compared to what you experience. Because what I've realized is that the pits we see, when you see them in videos, it looks like some shallow place. Our villages are being eaten away. We are not against mining. We are against illegal and irresponsible mining.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
And so that was what happened earlier this week with excavators seized and arrest made. We are asking, is this renewed offensive the decisive blow against Galamsey? How sustainable is this approach by the Minerals Development Fund? And how does this tie in with the government launch of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, known as the NIMOS, which was launched this past week? When I return, we'll be getting answers from the Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Development Fund, Dr. Hannah Louisa Bissue. Also joining on Zoom is MP for Swame and the Vice Chairman of the Committee on Environment, Science and Technology, John Darko, as well as Aula Sewa of Eco-Conscious Citizens. Stay with us. When we return, we get all of the answers. Thank you so much for staying with us here on The Probe. Let me start with Dr. Hannah Bissue. Share with us your experience for the part this week and what you've seen on the ground. In that video we saw a while ago, you painted a picture as though what we see on television is not the real picture. The places you've been to in the Adanse area, what is the true picture from your perspective?
Good evening to you and to your viewers, and good evening to our nation. What we actually see on the ground, I say, is nothing compared to what we see on TVs or even in the pictures or videos, because you have to actually be there to see the depth of the pits that are being dug within the communities, in our water bodies. You have to see the destruction of our water bodies. And let's say Jimmy River, the upstream is at Old Aditim. And this Jimmy River is what also feeds Obuasi. That is salt is treated for the people of Obuasi to actually drink. And we all know the issues with mercury and cyanide. And so let's say I sit in my office and I see videos and think that, okay, that is okay. We can actually deal with this situation. And we see, an upsurge, of kidney issues, liver problems, and all manner of cancers in our country. And we don't really understand where these things are coming from. Sometimes we tend to blame it on spiritual things. But, when you go to the field, you realize that even though we may be in Kumasi, we may be in Obuasi, what is the river that feeds you? What is the river that is being, treated and you're taking it from Ghana water? Obviously, Ghana water treatment does not take away the heavy metals. So what are you feeding your body with? Aside that, the education of our children and the terrorizing of our communities. We went to, when you go to these communities, they will explain to you how they are terrorized, how they are beaten, physical beating. And our children, these KG, class 1, junior high, 1, and you ask them, what do you want? They tell you they want guns. They are not asking for exercise books. They are not asking for pens. They want guns. And these little ones are telling you that these men come to our communities and they come with guns. So we also want guns. That's what we want. And we don't have electricity because they damage our transformer, they damage our lines. And the farmers, what they do is that when they get to the community, the first thing they do is to terrorize them. And that's one thing that I always say, that who is an illegal miner? You see, we stigmatize the villagers, we stigmatize the victims of irresponsible illegal mining. So in the eyes of MDF, when you talk about an illegal miner, it's not just somebody who doesn't have a license. But is that person, whether you have a license or not, who mines irresponsibly and illegally in our water bodies? Subin is destroyed. Jimmy is destroyed. When our farmers, when they farm, then these miners would dig big, huge pits in their pathway so they cannot cross anymore to their farms. Some of them have actually farmed plantains and all that. For the past 1 year, they've not been able to go to their farms. Some old ladies, the little farms that they've managed to farm, they cannot visit their farms anymore because of the pits. The schools cannot continue as they should anymore because of the illegal mining in the communities. There was a time that, according to them, the community, they were having a community meeting at their own community, their town hall place that they've organized. And these miners came there with canes and with guns and made them to come out one by one, and they beat them up.
Which specific community are you making reference to?
I'm referring to Atetin,
right.
the letters that we went to. And also for your viewers, we don't just get up and we go to places. No. When we get distress calls as a community that Mineral Development Fund is supposed to develop, and per Act Section 5 says we should redress every negative impact that mining has on the communities, on the affected communities and persons. We receive a lot of distress calls, a lot of distress voice messages. We receive calls and voice messages from chiefs, videos from chiefs. And so when we receive that, we go down and we do our own checks and we do our own recce, and we know exactly what is happening before we move in.
Right.
Now, these people were beaten. And the worst part of it, the Chinese, their mining site, according to the committee chairman, when we met with the community, somebody fell in the pit and died. So as a community, their leadership went there to inquire to see how best they could actually recover the body or what have you. And they were met with guns and canes.
And you said these illegal miners were Chinese people?
Exactly. And they themselves, they accepted, they admitted, that they know they are doing what they are doing is illegal.
So let's get a clarity. Forgive me for interjecting, though, but the Chinese, the Chinese actually beat the locals up for trying to recover the dead body from the pit.
No, that site, but the committee leader did not tell us whether they were beaten by the Chinese or by Ghanaians who were employed by the Chinese. But just like somebody comes to Joy FM and the person is attacked, whether the person was attacked by somebody from another station or not, but once the person was attacked on your premises, it becomes, an issue, a responsibility of Joy FM. So somebody fell in a pit that they have dug, the Chinese, they have dug their pit, and the person died. So the community leadership went there to inquire and to see how best to recover the body. And they were met with guns. They said, they told them, you don't move with fire. As for the guns, both Ghanaians employed by the Chinese and the Chinese themselves, they have them. In fact, when we went for them, they had 4 loaded guns with somebody lying low in, ambush. And by the grace of God, we were able to apprehend them. So out there, if you say that those who go there, we're in danger, then let's ask, what about those who live with them every day? What about those who cannot have good drinking water? What about these children who do not have, they have so much potential, but they don't have a future? What about those who have been poisoned through the food that we harvest from these areas? We are lucky to harvest any. All the water bodies that have been destroyed. the Subin that has been destroyed, the Jimmy that has been destroyed. Jimmy River is not just any lot of river. The River Kano that has been destroyed, River Pra that has been destroyed, River Fin that has been destroyed.
Right.
Our communities have been destroyed. And so if we just sit aloof and we throw our hands in despair and say, okay, let it be. My dear brother, I'm telling you,
right.
There is no tomorrow for us.
So I believe that's why the Minerals Development Fund is taking this initiative. You said you receive a lot of calls on this particular illegal mining menace. How often? Can you give us numbers? Say in a week, how many of these calls are you receiving, from which parts of the country and all that?
I must be very sincere. We've not received call from the northern part of Ghana, but we do receive a lot from the Ashanti region, a lot from the western region, and some not the same measure, but from the central region as well. And normally when they call, and from the Bono region also lately, we've been receiving a lot of calls as well, and videos, and voice notes. You see, and these, when they call you, they are not talking about, okay, some forest somewhere is being, no, they're talking about their only source of water that is being destroyed. They're talking about their community that is being destroyed. They're talking about the pits that have been dug and people are falling in and dying and nothing is happening. They're talking about how they've approached authorities and nothing happens. Chiefs are also throwing their hands in despair because anytime they try, it's either they are insulted as a pushback or they are threatened. And so they really don't know what to do.
More like they are helpless.
I wish people could actually go there. You need to see it, you need to feel it, and you need to see the danger.
Right.
Like the school that we just saw, I think you're showing the Atherton school. The heap of this illegal mining thing that has like, and let me look, I'm looking for the name of the person who actually is digging around the school. He's the NPP chairman for what's the name of it?
Adanse?
I'm coming. Let me. No. Is there for Mansokwanta?
Right.
Chairman Owusu Mensa.
He did what?
He is the one that assists site.
You are saying
around the school.
You are saying this for a fact?
I'm saying it for a 2,000,000% fact. If there's anything like 2,000,000%. I wouldn't, if you get to know me, I'll not just mention something that I don't know. And whilst we were there, he got one governor to call us. And what I told them was that we are not here to negotiate anything with anybody. If there's anything to negotiate, it's for the repair and the restoration of the ecosystem that they have destroyed in this community, and to give the life of this community back to them. Because if you are supposed to develop a community, why should you wait for the reactive and preventive? So what can we do to prevent? And I'm always going to take the reactive stage. But where we are right now, you can't really even determine what is happening right now on the ground.
All right. But give us a quick update on the situation from Atherton, and then I'll bring in the other guests. What is the latest on the arrest you've made so far, and with regards to the NPP chairman that you are saying actually owned those pits?
Well, so we've not been able to arrest him, but we got his foreman, and he admitted that he was sent there by the chairman to, I think what they do is that they pick information to see whether you go in, whether the team that is there is bribable, if they can bribe you, because they actually come with some sort of, to see if they can push their way through. And so we couldn't get him. But those that we had, we took them to the police station, and they were arraigned before court, and they've been reminded what we are going to push for as we've done it in the other places and it's yielding results, is for them to pay for the cost of the damage that they have done and restore the life of that village, back, they should bring life back to the village and let them have, or the community, let them have their peace, and let the farmers also have their peace and farm.
All right.
So there are places where immediately, right now what we are doing, we moved 8 excavators, and I think we have 15 excavators that we are moving. We moved 8. As of today, I think another 3 or 5 have been moved to the Kwai police station, and we'll be talking to NPA for them to assess the level and extent of damage to the environment, and Lance will also assess, and we have a proper budget as to the extent of damage and the cost of reparation, so that they will be charged for them to actually pay for the restoration of the ecosystem.
All right. Kindly hold for me. Let me bring in Aula Sewa of Eco Conscious. You should be happy with the effort being put in place by the Minerals Development Fund, aren't you?
Well, first of all, I have to commend my sister. I have to commend her. She's doing a fantastic job.
Right. So beyond...
And I have to say that I know that her life has been at risk. And just like the journalists who have been continuing with reporting despite their lives being threatened, I commend her. But however, listening to the report, I went through so many emotions. There was disappointment, there was anger, there was frustration. We all know what is going on. So why are we not declaring a state of emergency? Even in wartime, when you poison the water bodies, it's a war crime. So what I don't understand is that CSOs have been calling for a state of emergency. You see, we're on the verge of an ecological catastrophe. We're on the verge of an ecological catastrophe. She's doing her bit, others are doing their bit. But we need to have a state of emergency. So we have our armed forces, you have the Army, you have the Navy, you have the Air Force, all coming together with clear terms of reference, with no political interference, and bringing some sanity. Because you see, she's doing a brilliant job, but the magnitude of the problem before us, we cannot go at this pace. We have to have raids going on simultaneously. There's so much going on that I'm angry, I'm disappointed, I'm frustrated. And I'm saying that unless we declare a targeted state of emergency, I'm afraid we're not going to go anywhere. And let me say that all those who are arrested, they should be prosecuted. And as has been rightly said, we should have the polluter pays principle. So their assets should be sold and they should be made to pay for the cost of reclamation, but not before being sentenced. And then they should, as the law prescribes, if they are found guilty, serve their sentence. That should not.
How about these politically exposed persons like Doc mentioned, allegedly, that an NPP person digging pits around schools and all that, specifically, because if the politicians themselves are not being punished, then, of course, the ordinary person, what would you want to see?
Every single person who is involved in criminal activity should be punished. It shouldn't matter whether you belong to NPP, NDC, whatever. You should be punished. We know as a fact, that the reason why the war against illegal mining wasn't really going anywhere. Look at Professor Frimpong Boateng's report and those involved. Because on both sides of the political divide, you had people involved. I mean, let's face facts. Even now, we've had reports of MPs from the NDC. We've had party chairmen who are allegedly also involved. So it's like musical chairs. So all we are saying is that where the axe falls, it falls. Every single person involved. And I've been reliably informed that where the chief, the political authority, and the police come together and say no illegal mining, it doesn't happen. It happens because either the political authority is involved, the chiefs are involved, or the police are either complicit or turning a blind eye. We can stop this mayhem. We are being poisoned.
Right.
Water is life. And we need to immediately declare a state of emergency before we reach the point of no return.
Before I bring in John Darko, 6 months almost into John Mahama's administration, with his fight against Galamsey. What would be your verdict?
I would say the facts speak for themselves. Read Erastus Tasare Donko's reports. In the run-up to the elections, we were promised that a low-hanging fruit, LI 2462, would be repealed. It has not been repealed. It has been amended. We asked for a state of emergency. That hasn't happened. So one can look at the images you are showing, just read the post from Erastus, and I think the answer is very clear to anybody who cares.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you grade a president's performance in the last 6 months?
I'll refrain from giving marks and just say that what the promises that were made in the run-up to the elections concerning the environment have not been met. When it came to e-levy, that does not pose an existential threat. That promise has been kept. When it came to the betting tax, that does not pose an existential threat. That promise has been kept. Recently, under a certificate of emergency, a law to do with holidays, for crying out loud, has been passed. But what is causing a threat to the lives of Ghanaians? What is killing us? Dr. Bissue repeated what I've been saying for a very long time. The rise in kidney disease, neurological disease, maternal deaths, deformed babies, kidney disease. What is happening, which is causing an existential threat, that has not been dealt with. And for me, that is quite disappointing.
All right. Hold it. Let me bring in John Darko, who is on Parliament, Committee on Environment and Technology. Grateful for your time. You should be happy that the Minerals Development Fund is taking this fight to where it's taken it so far.
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother. Good evening to your cherished viewers. Yes, I see Hannah doing her bit to fight this Galamsey menace. Indeed, the fight against Galamsey is everybody's fight. And so I don't agree with those who feel, for instance, that that is not a mandate. In fact, it is everybody's mandate to fight this menace. As you all know, the destruction of our environment has reached a scale never seen before. And so we need everybody to come on board. And what she started, okay, is good. My worry is the sustainability of it. Indeed, she doesn't even really have the mandate, and so she's trying in the position she finds herself. So the question has to be, or we have to ask those who have been mandated to fight the menace what they are doing. So if MDF is doing this, how about EPA? How about the police? How about the people who have been given the responsibility to fight this? And you see, when you bring politics into it, like my sister tried to do, then you blur the argument. At least
how is she bringing in politics? How is she bringing in politics if the person, she's referring to actually is an NPP person who is doing this? How is that politics?
Let me just address it. You see, I would have been happy if she had just mentioned that somebody in the community by a particular name, because if you do this, if you say, oh, NPP person is doing it, then the question is it the case that no NDC person is doing it? Because we have a lot of reports, okay, of NDC, in fact, MPs, NDC political appointees engaging in Galamsey. But I don't think that
as we speak, because we've gotten to a point where we need to name and shame. And so,
yes, so but I feel that, look, my brother, if we take the politics out of it, because you see, the way our politics is made up, once a political party's name is mentioned, then there's a tendency to defend that political party. But these individuals who are engaging in Galamsey, they are not sending the money to the political parties. They are doing that for their own benefit. So in the case of this so-called NPP chairperson he mentioned, this NPP chairperson is not bringing any money to the parties per se, if indeed it's true. So let's deal with the individuals. Let's deal with the people who are engaging in it so that nobody comes to their defense. Look, I don't want to bring in the politics because we've had a lot of NDC people engaging in it. Imagine if I also start mentioning NDC.
We'll be interested in the names because, like I said, this fight has gotten to the point where we need to name and shame so we can advance the fight. So if you are making the allegation. No, but it's important. It's important we fight from that angle also. You keep saying that there are some NDC appointees who are actually engaging in this. These are people who are supposed to be fighting, on behalf of Ghanaians. People do not have water to drink and all that. And so if a government appointee is actually involved in this particular illegality, it's important. You sit on the committee to mention names, and then we can look into it.
Yes, very, very, very important. But I believe that when you do that, they will be reducing the argument to individuals. Look, what is happening to our environment is a serious issue. And so I don't think that it is okay to just reduce it to just individuals engaging in it. Look,
right.
Apart from the Ghanaians who are engaging in it, you have these Chinese who have taken over our forest and destroyed it. And look, what is going to happen is that we will be fighting among ourselves. NPP did this, NDC did that, whilst the Chinese bring in machines to come and destroy our forests, and then we'll be fighting against ourselves. So I don't think that we need to really politicize it. Let's go in. Whoever is engaged in illegal mining should be dealt with.
All right.
And so, to answer your question, Hannah has started, but how about those who have the responsibility? The EP, the police, the government has the first ultimate responsibility. Look, it is said that you do not tell me your plans, you show me your budget. How much has the government committed to fighting against Galamsey? Those are the questions we need to ask. If you look at the budget for Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, right? About 70%, about almost 80% is going into paying compensation. Okay? How much is about 400 million going into compensation? If you look at the money left for them for keepers, it's about 100 million Ghana cedis. Now, this fight doesn't need 100 million. And that's just for keepers, and it's for the ministry. If you come to EP, how much does the EP have to fight against Galamsey? How much have you resourced?
How much did you approve as a committee?
The figure for EP, I think, just about 100 million. And it goes into compensation. It goes into compensation because the Ministry for Environment is a big ministry. And a lot of agencies under them, that for the Ministry of Environment, for me, it's not big enough. And the chunk of the money that goes to EP, about 100 million or so, goes into compensation. So we don't really have much money to fight against Galamsey.
So you think government should be committing more funds if it's really committed to fighting the Galamsey menace?
Absolutely. Look, and let's ask ourselves, the president has said, I think on so many grounds, that we get a lot of money from the small-scale mining. And so with that small-scale mining, we are going to have serious imbalance in our finances. As a result of that, the president has committed $297 million into buying gold. Now, how do you buy the gold? You are buying the gold from small-scale mining companies. Where are these small-scale mining people getting the gold from? They are in the forest. They are in the community. They are the people destroying our forest. And so it looks to me that we have taken, we have chosen to take money, the gold, over our environment. The $297 million, almost $300 million, if it was given to fight Galamsey and restore the environment, I believe we would have been successful. But rather, we have given $297 million to buy gold from small-scale mining companies. And that's what I'm saying. That don't look at the optics. Don't listen to their promises. Look at their budget. The budget will tell you whether the government is committed to fighting Galamsey. Now, if you've given $300 million to buy small-scale gold from small-scale mining companies, all right, and these are the people in the forest destroying our natural resources and our water bodies. How do you tell me that you are committed to fighting? When it comes to fighting Galamsey,
I think that point,
you have given nothing.
That point is well made, but I want to find out from you your thought on what the government recently launched, the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat. The name is NIMOS. It's supposed to coordinate all anti-Galamsey efforts into one. What do you make of that approach by government?
Well, you see, for me, and I can't tell you on my heart, any effort to fight in Galamsey, I will support, irrespective of which government is coming from. And so I commend the government. But you see, when we just keep setting up institutions, and all these people are going to receive money. And that is why in this country, everything goes into consumption. How about resourcing the institutions that are already, mandated to fight in these menace? Why do we keep setting up different institutions, today this, tomorrow that? If it's going to work, I will support it. But my fear is that it's another opportunity for people to make money. So I believe that the government should rather concentrate on EPA, the military, the police. I mean, it saddens my heart. I've gone to villages, I've seen this issue, and what Hannah said is true. When you are in Accra and you are seeing it on TV and you see pictures, it doesn't do justice. Go to the community, it is sad. We are destroying our future right before our very own eyes. And so any effort to fight it, I will support.
Okay.
But I think that we don't have to disperse it. We should give the attention to the institutions already mandated to fight. When you do that, I believe that they'll be able to do this very well.
All right. Let me bring in Dr. Hannah Bissue. Fighting illegal mining is capital intensive and it's equally dangerous because these people are armed. How do you intend to sustain it and where is the funding coming from?
Okay, before I answer your question, I wish to assure my honorable member of parliament that this is not about politics, it's not about NDC, NPP. I mentioned him because he has a name, he has a position, and he belongs to a political party. If I found an NDC chairman, trust me, I'll mention the name. Because you see, when we politicians, when we are committed to end this together, it will be possible. It's really doable. Now, if we, the politicians, are those who are also doing these illegalities, then the fight is going to be really hard for us. And so, I mean, if I see NPP, trust me, if you are holding a position, either in your political party or national position in terms of an appointee and then under this government, I will mention, and it means that you are even anti the very government that has appointed you, because I know that President John Dramani Mahama is committed in ending this chronic disease called illegal mining. You see, we say Galamsey, but and also I also want to state something, that small-scale miners are not illegal miners.
Right.
You may have small-scale, somebody doing small-scale who has the license to mine where he or she is mining. Now, I said something when I started that at MDF, that we have to, and let me read the Section 5 of the MDF Act, okay? They say, for the purpose of achieving the objective of the fund, monies for the fund shall be applied to relevant activities at the bottom. That too is to redress the harmful effects of mining on affected communities and persons. I'll leave the rest. It means that anything that is negative, harmful, that the mining has caused in the communities and the persons is for us to redress. So
the fight you're on now forms part of your mandate.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So that's why I said we move to communities. When we get the distress calls, we do our search and we move into these communities. Because when they are telling you, come because our water bodies are being destroyed, and we are supposed to provide water for them. They are destroying their schools. You are supposed to provide schools and build schools, build clinics, do this. So I want to state this, that the act of the Mineral Development Fund, this has been done now. You spoke about
sustainability, and how you're able to fund it. Yeah.
One thing that I know, and for sure that is going to be sustainable.
How?
Is that one, we are relentless. Yes, we will not back off. That you can, I mean, it's risky. I must tell you, it's very, very risky. Okay? But I said to a journalist, somebody is set out to rob, and they know it's risky. Okay? They are chased, they find they are able to escape, but they still go, and sometimes they die. What killed them? They were robbing. And so if you live in a nation where things are being done against the very fiber that forms a nation, and you are scared to act because you either be given a bad name or you can die, please do something good for the country and live or die for a good cause. And for the sustainability also, we are pushing for the PPP, the polluter pays principle, and it's working. We are getting results. Anybody that we have taken and given to the security agents, and we push to send them to court, and they've been reminded their lawyers are now negotiating. And so EPA and lands, they are also putting together the budget, that's the asset, they will assess the extent of damage. So the water restoration, the restoration of the farmlands and all the others that they have done. If you destroy school, because like why I mentioned his name, because he actually told them that you mind the very school. And this is what they told us at the school, that you mind the school, and after that you build one for them if you want. Bridges have been destroyed, but not they're under siege. And so for us, government, you see, somebody said, look, they can give MDF 50% of the royalties for us to go develop the communities. What, I mean, how can you even do anything? And I'll go back to a hospital, to a doctor, okay? When you sit in front of a doctor and you tell the doctor, I have headache, they check your temperature. Your temperature is high. This is that. I don't have appetite. Then the doctor is treating you.
Right.
And for the headache, bring down your temperature. So what the doctor is now doing is symptomatically treating you.
So in this context,
the doctor is not treating the cause of it. Okay. And so the cause of the poverty, what we see in our communities is this illegality. And this illegality is not just done by Ghanaians, it's done by Chinese.
Right.
And I started by saying we stigmatize the victims. I want to state that the people living in these communities, they are not those involved in these illegal acts.
The communities you visited, are you telling us that residents in these villages and communities themselves are not being part of these Galamsey practice in their own backyard?
No, please. Those, let's say, of course, the Chinese, and we have documents. I will not put these things out. We know those who brought them in. We know those who sent them to those areas. We have the documents. We have a team within our team. We have people who read and speak Chinese very well. So the things they've written in Chinese, they are being translated. So we have all of them. Now, when you go to these communities, if you find anybody in the community at any of these sites, these ones from the community, these young boys, you see them, they go there for the local field, they go do by day, they'll do this, then they'll pay them maybe 50 cedis or 150, but it's not the community who, of course, they are not involved in the act.
But in one way or the other, they also contributing to it.
Who has farmed, like the one who said, over 1 year, he's not been able to go to his plantain farm because these miners have dug a huge pit. And that's what the old lady was also trying to tell us, that because of the pit, they can't access their farms anymore.
Okay.
So for them to survive, they come and beg.
All right. Let me get a clarity on the PPP thing. The solution is what? Explain to us briefly.
Okay, the solution for the polluter pay principle which when you go to Atiwa West, that's where we started. And by the grace of God, the polluter is paying for the reclamation. And we are pushing because they've dug in the communities for the planting of coconut, which will be very beneficial to the communities, is that you destroy our water bodies. You destroy the roads, you destroy the bridge, you destroy the school, you destroy the land, the family. You've dug pits. You've taken out whatever you want to take out. And you are leaving it to endanger the people, endanger the community. In fact, I call them environmental terrorists. You've terrorized the environment, and you want government to look for money to now reclaim what you have done. And so once we have you, now you are going to pay the cost. If it comes up, let's say, for the purpose of this conversation, we need 300 million cedis, or 2 million, 1 million, whatever, to reclaim the damage.
Okay. You
pay. They have excavators. That's why we do everything to push the excavators to secure places. We went, the day before yesterday, when we went, they went with the full vehicle of engineers.
Is it a plan that if they are unable to pay, you're going to auction these excavators to do the reclamation?
We will push for that. That's what we are pushing for. All that we want is that give back the life that you've taken away from these communities, and it will bring less cost to government. It will make our fund more efficient, so that we now concentrate on doing some other things.
And beyond this, beyond the reclamation approach, are you going to punish these people?
Oh yes, you know is it Mining and Mineral Amendment Act? I think it's Section 3 also, and forgive me if I'm not able, the lawyers should forgive me. But there's a law in Ghana that says that any foreigner found in any form of mining activity, either you are there as an engineer, if you rent your machines, if you do what have you, you have to be in prison. I think it's the minimum of 20 years and maximum of 25 years. That we are pushing for. And when you are so when you are found guilty and you are sentenced to this number of years, you will not be repatriated until you finish your jail term. And whilst you are there, Mineral Development Fund, the voice of the mining communities, we are also pushing for our monies so that the damage that you cause will be repaired. And we give something back to the communities. And so for us, what we are doing right now is heeding to the call or the calls from our mining communities, asking us to come to their aid. And trust me, when we go out there, we go there in the name of God, and we are not ready to be compromised in any way, any form, any shape.
Have they tried trying to compromise you in any way, your team members?
Some of my team members, yes. But you know, when I lead a team, you know that if you take banana and it sounds like bribe, you are in trouble. And so for me, you know, we owe it as a duty. If you don't fear God, you can do it.
All right.
You understand?
Doc,
but I cannot answer to the God who created me if I go on to do this at the detriment of the lives of the people who live in these communities.
All right, Doc.
To Mother Ghana.
Thank you so much for speaking to us here on the program. Let me bring in Aula Sewa. Doc spoke about a PPP arrangement where you know, those who pollute are forced to actually pay for reclamation. Is it enough?
Well, it's not enough, but it's something we have been talking about for a very long time. We've been talking about the polluter pays principle. We've been saying that all those named in Prof. Frimpong Boateng's report, for instance, when they are arrested, prosecuted, and found guilty, then their assets should be sold to be used towards the reclamation. So that is part of the solution. You should be saying that you do not profit from your criminal activity. But beyond that, we need to have them punished, jailed, and then I keep on saying that, you see, when we call them environmental terror, that's a term that eco-conscious citizens have been using for a very long time. If you have an environmental terrorist, then why haven't we declared a state of emergency? You see, we need to be serious about what is going on. We're on the verge of an ecological disaster. If we concede that we are fighting against environmental terrorists, then why are we not declaring a state of emergency so that we can deal with them in a sustained, systematic manner? Because although Dr. Hannah is doing a brilliant job, it's not enough because of the enormity of the problem we face. I'm just reading a post about the Jimera Forest Reserve, where Forestry Commission officers were almost killed. They were told that the forest had been secured. They went there and they were ambushed and almost killed. What is happening now is a very serious matter, and we need to take it seriously.
All right.
And I'm afraid we're not doing so.
Okay. Thank you so much. John Darko, let me give you the final word. Should we declare state of emergency? Yes or no?
I think we should. It's about time. Look, we've had all the loss, and I think Hannah was trying to refer to the Minerals and Mining Amendment Act 2019 at 995. There are so many provisions, in fact, to the extent that even those who fabricate, manufacture, or use this floating platform, even for those who fabricate, if you are found, you should be, you can go to jail. But they are there. We see them along the commercial road. You see all these machines being manufactured, but nothing is being done to the people. When the law clearly prescribed even the manufacturing of these floating platforms. And so we have to do better. Look, and I think that everybody on this platform today has come to the conclusion that we need to do something extraordinary if we are to save our environment.
What will your committee do in the interim to ensure that this state of emergency, you're able to push for it?
So, honestly speaking, we will obviously bring the EPA and then the ministry to Parliament to answer the relevant questions. In fact, I was part of the committee that did the amendment on the 2462, the subsidy legislation. The point is that, look, the particular provision that was amended, in my view, was needless. That provision only said that the president may grant permit to any person, in a forest zone.
Globally significant biodiversity.
Yes, and that is just the provision that was amended. And look, if a president, either that provision is there or not, for me, it didn't mean anything, because if a president doesn't want to grant a mineral license to anybody, the president will not grant it.
Right.
The law will be there, but will not be used. And so, if we believe that the whole law is wrong, let's just take it off.
Okay.
And then let's declare state of emergency. Let's all stay back, and then let's see some restoration before we go back to this mining. Look,
all right,
it is destroying our country, and you need to, because it's dangerous, you need to do extraordinary things to be able to restore the environment to its natural state. Thank
you so much, John Darko. Let me come to you finally, Dr. Hannah Bissue. You have been to the ground. You've seen the gravity of the situation for yourself. And many people are calling for declaration of state of emergency. Based on what you've seen on the ground, do you support that call?
Well, I support any call that to bring an end to what we have.
No, I'm talking specifically about declaration of state of emergency.
If that is what will help, that's why I'm saying that any call, because when I'm saying when somebody says state of emergency or no state of emergency, it depends what actually entails the state of emergency. As I sit here, for what I've seen, if you tell us today that I'm going to sleep in the forest, it's what is going to help. I'll pick my mattress, my mat, and I'll go there. What I'm trying to say is this. If state of emergency, that is what will help. Those who are sitting around, those who have the document, those who have put together the document, those who analyze it will tell us, okay, this is what will help. For me, at the end of it, what will really help is that anybody who goes out there to fight against this illegality should be first of all a loving Ghanaian who loves Ghana more than their pockets, who loves Ghana more than the cars that they would drive, who loves Ghana beyond bright, because what is happening, the problem we have, that is the truth. State of emergency or no state of emergency, you put an officer there, they bribe the person. You put this person there, they bribe the person. Because I have seen it. I have seen it. They come with bags of money. And so it's a very tough thing to do.
Right.
That's why I'm saying that regardless of whatever we put in place as Ghanaians and as those put in that position to fight against this canker, love your nation above your personal interest. And I also want to state, please, and Honorable says something that if we don't clear it, will see the gold board buying of gold from small-scale miners. He said that these miners are those in the forest mining. I think that it's unfair, and that needs to be corrected. Gold board is not buying illegal gold from illegal miners. And small-scale miners, Honorable, they are not those in the forest. Small-scale miners, those who have licenses, those who are legal. And as I said, a large-scale miner could also be termed as an illegal miner when they do the wrong things. The fact that you have driver's licenses to drive does not mean you can do anything you want. Anytime you go outside the laws that guide you as a driver, a license-holding driver, you become an illegal driver. So I want to state this clearly. The gold board is not buying illegal gold from illegal miners. And small-scale miners, Honorable, they are not those in the forest.
But so is it the case that a small-scale miner can become an illegal miner? Do you agree?
Honorable, just as somebody with a large-scale concession licenses can also become an illegal miner. But
except that
no,
the gold board doesn't buy from large-scale miners.
You make a statement, Honorable, and if I were to be a small-scale miner, I would have taken offense. And I think that when we do that, we stigmatize them also. When you say small-scale miners, they are on a smaller scale, and they are Ghanaians, yes. Some of them have licenses, some don't.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
It's not just about having the license. It's about whether or not they are going outside the parameters of the license. And the reality is a lot of the time.
Okay. Please, I think we should have one at a time.
No, there was a categorical statement made by the Honorable Member of Parliament that, and you can repeat it, that government is buying gold from small-scale miners, and these miners, where are they coming from? They are those in the forest. He made a categorical statement.
Yes. All right.
You know, and it was he actually boxed everybody in one. If you say some, or if you say those who are, that's why I started by saying that for MDF, we those who represent the communities, illegality is when you do the wrong things. It's not even just about somebody can have the license and be illegal.
All right.
But you cannot say that small-scale miners are those.
Unfortunately, I'm afraid
I don't think it's a fair statement to make.
All right. But based on what you just said, it means that if it would take state of emergency to cure this illegal mining menace, you will support it, if I got you right.
Whatever it takes, I've said it, I support it. Whatever government, any decision government takes that pushes, for the freedom of our land and the freedom of the people and our communities, I do support it. So whatever decision government takes, I'm in full support.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We've been talking to Dr. Hannah Bissue. She is with the Minerals Development Fund. Also, John Darko is on the Committee on Environment and Technology, as well as Awula Sewa of the Eco Conscious. This has been The Probe. Thank you so much for watching. Next week will be another exciting edition. Bye-bye.